So you want to get into Rimfire PRS, but you don't know where to start. I got you. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Shoot More. If you're new, welcome. If you've seen some of the other videos, you're not yet subscribed, go ahead and hit that button down below right now. I've gotten a lot of questions lately about how to get started in Rimfire PRS, so today I'm going to try and summarize all the information that I think you need to know as a new shooter. So to make that a little bit easier, we're going to break things up into 5 chapters. Chapter 1, we're just going to cover what is Rimfire PRS. Chapter 2, we're going to talk about how you can find information for matches, and a couple ways that you can engage with the community online before you ever show up at your first match. Chapter 3, we're going to talk about equipment, specifically budget equipment, and what I think you need to get started versus what you definitely do not need. Chapter 4, we're going to talk about ballistic solvers and a free option that I think is the best bet right now if you're just getting started. And Chapter 5, we're going to set up a couple mock stages here to kind of give you an idea of some of the things you might see when you go to your first match. Jumping into Chapter 1, what is Rimfire PRS? To put an official definition on it, Rimfire PRS is a precision rifle discipline where shooters use rifles chambered in .22 long rifle to engage small steel targets at varying distances, typically from 25 to 300 yards from a wide range of positional shooting challenges. What does that mean? We take rifles that shoot little bullets, we shoot them long distances, and we shoot them from odd positions at the end of the day. A typical course of fire at a match is anywhere from 8 to 12 stages. You'll have anywhere from 8 to 12 rounds per stage. This can vary based on the match, but typically this is what you're going to see. Each stage is timed. There's really 3 main par times for the stages: 90 seconds, 105 seconds, and 120 seconds. Here in Arkansas, we really focus on 105 seconds. The Precision Rifle Series is an official organization. If you want to officially compete, you do have to pay for a membership, and there is an official season structure with points that are tracked. There are both regional and national finales, and the points that you accumulate over the course of the season are used to determine if you get invites to those events. The meat and the potatoes of this series are the local club matches. Those are the most common one-day matches. Typically, they're done by noon or 1 o'clock, so it doesn't take all day. One step above the local club matches are the regional qualifiers. There are only so many qualifiers in a season. You have to shoot one of the qualifiers in order to be eligible to shoot the regional finale. And then the big event of the year is the national finale. It is a 2-day event. It alternates locations. In 2025, it was in Parma, Idaho. In 26, I do believe it's in Tennessee, but don't quote me on that. There are also outlaw matches that are not necessarily sanctioned by PRS, but they are PRS type matches. Those are typically run at local clubs or maybe a group of clubs within a state. Some of those matches may also count as PRS points, but that just kind of depends. With PRS being a competition, there are classes, and I think there's 2 good ways to split out those classes. There's gear classifications and then qualifications. Gear specifically relates to the rifle. So you have an open class, which is this rifle here. It's pretty much no holds barred. Anything is fair game. There's no weight restrictions. The rifle does have to be chambered in .22 long rifle. There is also a production class, which this rifle here would fit in. It has to be a factory rifle, so factory stock, factory barrel, factory action. Cannot change the trigger, and the scope and rifle combination has to be under a certain price point. That changes each year based on inflation. I'll go ahead and link the rules in the description down below, so if you're interested, you can read more there. Additionally, there are also semi-auto and airgun classes. They're not as popular as open and production, but personal opinion, I do think we're going to see semi-auto start to increase. As far as the qualification classes, there's ladies, mil Leo, youth, and senior. There are requirements, obviously, in order to class as one of those qualifications. Again, you can find all that information in the PRS rules linked in the description. In my opinion, the biggest key takeaway is that Rimfire PRS is the lowest intimidation, lowest cost, but also highest net potential learning opportunity in the precision rifle sports, and it is exploding in popularity. Unfortunately, it's not always the easiest to find matches or understand the information, so let's go ahead and jump to Chapter 2, We'll talk about how to plug in with the community, where to find information on the matches, but we're gonna do that from the office. So let's jump to the house and I'll catch up with you guys there. So chapter 2, how to find matches and where to get plugged in with the community before you ever step foot at the range. This is gonna be pretty computer heavy, but I think there's a couple key assets and I guess places, websites really, for you to get information if you're a new shooter. Quick, before we get into the specifics on the website, I will link all of these down in the description so you don't have to try and capture the websites as we go through them. But first and foremost, precisionrifleseries.com. This is the home place of the Precision Rifle Series. All of the information is available here. You can learn about all of the different series, all the rules, frequently asked questions. They've got a blog with a bunch of different information, match updates, etc. This is where you'll purchase your membership if you choose to do so. But if you're looking for matches specifically, I want to draw attention to this button right here that says R Series. We'll go ahead and click that. And since we are interested in the Rimfire series, we'll click Rimfire. That will pull us up to the Rimfire page here. And this is where you can find a map of all of the official sanctioned Rimfire PRS matches in the United States. If you know what region you're in, you can pare it down to just your region. I myself am in Central region, so this kind of limits the view just to there. But if you don't know what region you're in, we'll go back to this main page for the Rimfire series here. You got the entire map of the United States. You can just scroll to wherever you're located. Let's say you're up near Denver, and you can find matches that are in your area. So key things here. This time of year specifically, we are kind of between seasons. Clubs are still getting their matches loaded into this system, so this is not indicative of all of the matches that are going to happen in the 2026 season. There will be more to come. Secondly, if we look at Little Rock here, you might see this, I don't know, 10 or so matches and think, wow, there's a lot of different clubs in Little Rock that shoot matches. No, these are all for, well, a lot. Most of these are for Twisted Barrel. The map doesn't stack all of the matches on top of each other, so when you see a bunch of dots like this, typically it's one range that has all of the matches loaded into the system already. They're just kind of spread out a little bit. All right, so we've jumped back to the main Rimfire page, and let's say that we want to sign up for a match, and we are looking for a match in Little Rock, Arkansas. And Twisted Barrel Precision, cool, but this match already happened in October. How do we find the matches that are in the future without having to click through everything here on the screen? We'll open this up, and this is the match page itself, but it's for the old match, right? So we'll click this right here, and this will take us to the home page for the range itself. If you scroll down a little bit, it will tell you all of the matches that are scheduled for the future. Let's say I'm traveling and I want to shoot in Little Rock on April 4th, right? So we'll go ahead and click on this here. This will pull up the match page that we're interested in specifically. This is typically all the information that you need to know about the match is located here, where it's located, timelines, if lunch is provided, what you need to bring, who the match director is, etc. Again, this time of year, these pages are still being updated, so this one is not complete. There's also normally either a website link or a register button that will pull you to an external website, typically either practice score or impact scoring, and that is how you will sign up for the match itself. Unfortunately, this right here does not have the register link yet. So what we'll do is we'll go to practice score, because I think that's where Chris has his matches, and we'll see if we can find the April 4th match through the practice score search. So jumping over to practice score here, you will need to make an account, but this is how most ranges handle registration for their matches. Sometimes you can pay for the match fee online, sometimes it's in-person cash only. It just kind of depends on the range itself. But either way, when you create a profile and you sign in, this is the page that you're going to pull up. What you want to do up here is at this top bar, come to the matches, come to the search bar here, and we'll go Arkansas. Click that. And And so we've got a bunch of pistol matches here, but that's not really what we're looking for. So let's see if we can pare it down to long range rifle. So I'm just looking at the dates here, and here we go. Twisted Barrel Precision, April 4th, PRS Rimfire match. This is the registration page. Again, it tells you all the information that you should need to know about the match. And then this is where you will actually register yourself. So Twisted Barrel is a range that handles their match fees online, so you can pay when you register here, and then you'll be good to go. I'd love to be able to show you guys what the match management page looks like after you sign up. Unfortunately, any of the matches that I'm going to shoot, the registration's not open for yet. Typically, they can change when registration opens, but it'll open a couple weeks before the match. Bigger matches open further in advance, so if you want to go to some of the destination matches, be ready to sign up as soon as they open, because they typically fill up pretty quick. There is another website that handles registration and scoring, and that is Impact Scoring. This is more of a newer platform, a newer app, but it's pretty cool because they do live scoring. So if you come to a match that is in progress, it will update as people shoot. I think this is probably the direction things are going for the sport. This platform is kind of slowly being adopted by some of the match directors. Practice Score is widely the most popular platform. As far as keeping score at the match, there's not anything that you have to do. There's no app to download or anything like that. Typically, the match directors have tablets that have the apps loaded that'll be either distributed to each squad or to the RO responsible for keeping score for that stage. And that is the equipment that'll be used at that match to keep score. So let's broaden our horizons a little bit. I do want to get a little bit into Facebook. I think there are some good groups to join if you're a new member. One of the groups that I'd recommend joining if you're a paid member of the PRS is the Precision Rifle Series Rimfire Paid Members Group. Not always a bunch of information that gets shared in here. Honestly, I think this is one of the more underutilized groups, but it can give you information on some of the bigger matches that are coming up. Secondly, the Competitive 22 Gear Talk and Match Finder. And this is where you'll find more information. People do post about matches in here, but you'll see a lot more of the like technical gear technique conversations happen in here. There are also region-specific Facebook pages. I think these are more focused on the Centerfire side of things, but you will see Rimfire posts in here from time to time. And then the last one that I think would probably be worthwhile, and I actually just found this one when I was kind of prepping for this video, is the Competitive PRS for Beginners. I'm not even a member yet, but I can tell from the guys that run this, that are the admins, that there's probably a good amount of information in this group. So that was a lot of information. Like I said, I'll make sure all the links are in the description down below. One of the things I want to make sure to stress to you guys, if you're a new shooter, reach out to the match director before the match. Let them know you're new. Let them know if you're missing any gear, what your concerns are, or anything you're having problems with. I would argue 99% of the match directors, if they're a good match director, will go out of their way to make your experience, especially your first match, positive. So this community is, for the most part, very open and welcoming and helpful. I think that's part of what makes it so great. So if you're hesitant to go to a match because you don't have a bag, or you're not sure how to set up a dope profile in whatever free ballistic app you're using, reach out to your match director, let them know, and I'm sure they can get you a helping hand. I think that's going to do it for this portion. Let's go ahead and jump back to the range and we'll talk about gear. Jumping into chapter 3, what equipment do you need to get started shooting PRS? It's important to frame this conversation a certain way. You are not going to be in a position to win when you first start if you have never shot a precision rifle discipline before. Your focus needs to be learning and having fun. If you decide that you like the sport, shooting it with the equipment you have, go nuts. Build the custom rifle, put as much money as you can afford to into the sport, have fun with it. But for that first match, or even the first couple matches, I think most people have most of what they need sitting at their safe at home. Case in point, this is a Marlin 925. Back in its heyday, I think this was a $200 rifle. I will say the one critically important thing for this sport is the scope. This is probably where most people are going to have to spend money. You need a scope with a reticle that is either mil or MOA. Mil is definitely preferred since that is pretty much the standard across the sport, and then you can help have people in your squad share wind calls or give you corrections, but the scope has to track, it has to have a reticle so that you can make corrections, and it has to be able to dial elevation. The great news for new shooters is Chinese scopes have gotten pretty okay. This is an Arken SH4 Gen 2, very budget optic. This isn't even the 6-24, I think. This is the 4-16, so not ideal at all for PRS. I personally would recommend having a scope that has a max magnification of no less than 25, but this is what I had available, so this is what's on the rifle and what we're going to shoot today. So ammo is another consideration. You really want to stay away from anything high velocity. Standard velocity ammos, what you're looking for. Super budget ammos like CCI, Standard Velocity, and Norm Attack are good options to get started, but you're definitely going to be fighting the consistency of the ammo. Personally, if it was me, I would recommend picking up something from SK. I think that is going to set you up for success better than trying to shoot Norma or CCI Standard Velocity. But if all you can find is Norma or CCI Standard Velocity, you can absolutely go and shoot your match with it. One thing that I didn't touch on with the rifle is it needs to be magazine fed. It cannot be a single shot rifle and it cannot be tube fed. 10-round magazines are definitely best. You can do it with less. You'll just need to change mags more on the clock, but any 22 rifle with a 10-round magazine would work great for your first PRS match. So the other thing that you're gonna need is a shooting bag. Before you go out and buy one, I highly recommend reaching out to the match director of the match that you're going to. If they are a good match director, they will be able to source an additional bag from one of the common shooters. Guys like myself that shoot this regularly, we have extra equipment. Borrow what you can, come with your rifle if you want, go buy an inexpensive Chinese scope, and then borrow the rest of what you need. Lastly, you'll notice that there's not a bipod on this rifle. A bipod is useful, but if you're really strapped for cash, you don't know if you like this, you don't know how you would attach a bipod to your rifle, you can shoot most matches with just a bag. Will a bipod make it easier for some of the stages? Absolutely yes. If you can afford or you have a bipod that you can attach to the rifle, go ahead and bring it. Unfortunately for me, there's no ARCA rail on this rifle. All of my rifles are ARCA compatible, so we're shooting our stages today with no bipod, and we're just gonna bag it and see how it goes, just to show you guys that it's possible if you don't have the equipment. In summary, you don't need a full custom rifle just to get started. Frame what you want this to be appropriately, and that should be learning and having fun. Use the equipment that you have, spend a little bit of money on a scope like the Arken, reach out to the match director, borrow what you can, specifically shooting bags. Bipods are great, but if you don't have one, don't worry, just get out there and shoot. And then as far as ammunition goes, you can do it with Standard Velocity, Rimfire ammo, but if you want to have a little bit more consistency at your first match, pick up some less expensive match ammo, and I think that'll get you a better experience. I think that's it for the equipment portion. Let's go ahead and jump into the ballistic solver. Jumping into chapter 4, ballistic calculators. At first, honestly, I had filmed all of this at the range and I wanted to kind of do this in real time with you guys and show you a real life example. Except the wind absolutely crushed our audio and all you hear is the wind beating against the microphone. So we're refilming it here in the office. Ballistic calculators. There are a bunch of free options. You don't need to go out and buy a Kestrel first thing. The best option I think on the market currently is AB Quantum. I think it's got the most features. There's nothing wrong with some of the other options like Hornady. I just prefer AB Quantum myself. So what we're gonna do, I have my iPad here. We're gonna go ahead and turn on the screen recording and then I'll show you guys how to set up a profile and then we'll walk through a visual of how to true the rifle at 200 yards and then kind of what that process would look like. So first off, we're gonna open up AB Quantum here. We'll want to hit the profiles button on the bottom. We'll go ahead and hit the plus in the top right corner and we'll just name it Marlin, right, for a name. And then what we'll do is we'll hit just beneath that the AB bullet library. And we know a 22 long rifle bullet is a .224 bullet, so we'll open that up. And then we were shooting SK Rimfire in the video, so we're gonna scroll down here till we see SK Rimfire. Hit that, and then we were shooting SK Rimfire match. Typically 22 long rifle BC ballistic coefficient is G1, So we'll hit G1 there, and it's going to pull that information into the app for us. If the bullet that you're shooting, the round that you're shooting, is not in the app, typically you can find information like PC, etc. online with just a simple Google search. So jumping down to gun data, first off is muzzle velocity. This is an important input, but unfortunately we don't have a chrono, so we're going to guess. Typically, most standard velocity rimfire match ammo is somewhere around 1,080 feet per second, but this is just a starting point. We will true this out so it's realistic and matches what our rifle does in current environments. Our zero range for rimfire is 50 yards typically. Sometimes zero boards are like 52, 53 yards. Sometimes they're a little bit short. It's range dependent. I try to be as precise as possible with my inputs into the app. That way you get a better solution on the back end. And that's really a good point for when you're setting up a ballistics calculator like this. Garbage in, garbage out. The more precise that you can be on your inputs, the better solution that you're going to have on the outputs. So sight height, that references the distance from the center bore of the rifle barrel to the center line of the scope. I've measured the Marlin already, and it's a 2.125. So for twist rate, the Marlin is a 1 in 16 twist. That is a standard twist rate for most 22 long rifle barrels. If you're not sure what your twist rate is, a simple Google search with the model of your rifle and twist rate will typically pull up the information that you need, but 1 in 16 is a safe bet. I think that's all that we're going to do here for this, so we're going to go ahead and hit save. It's going to pull it into our inactive slot. We'll go ahead and hit the little arrow with the line to pull it up to active. We'll go ahead and hit the shoot button there on the bottom, and that will pull us up to our screen where we can start to get some elevation. This is where we're going to get into truing the ballistic calculator to the rifle. So there's really two things to keep in mind now that we're starting to talk about truing out the dope profile. One, you want to make sure your rifle is absolutely zeroed. 1 or 2 shots is not going to cut it. Shoot a 10-shot group. You might see that group favor one side or the other. If you just shot 1 or 2 shots, you wouldn't have seen that otherwise. Secondly, I think it is critically important to try and true your calculator to the rifle on the calmest day possible. Wind has a lot of effect on these little bullets. When you try to do it on a calm day, you take that variable out. The other part of that is this is the free version of the AB Quantum app. It does not calculate for the effects of wind on the bullet in terms of aerodynamic jump. Do yourself a favor, try and do it on the calmest day possible. You're going to get a better result. So what is truing? We are trying to match what the ballistic calculator says to what the rifle is actually doing in real life circumstances. There are several factors that can affect that. Ammunition velocity is one, temperature, humidity, and wind are others. So what distance do you true at? We typically true at 200 yards. That is the recommendation of Applied Ballistics for rimfire. Some guys do it differently. This is just kind of a quick, fast, and dirty method to get you started. If you really dive into this, you can figure out your own method and what you like. But this will definitely get you headed down a path to shoot your first match. So we're going to go ahead and put 200 yards in here. And then what we want to do is update our environmentals, right? Because the bullet drop is going to be wildly different and it's 40 degrees versus when it's 80 degrees. So how do we get environmentals? Luckily, AB uses your GPS to figure out what the weather is in your location. It's not perfect, but it's going to be close enough, right? So we'll hit the Wi-Fi button here. It's going to update the temperature. We'll do it under humidity as well as pressure and latitude. That probably won't change. So we've updated our environmentals. We've updated our range to 200 yards. Speaking of the target at 200 yards, when you're truing, again, garbage in, garbage out, try to make sure you know the exact distance of the target. If you don't have access to a range where you can true at 200 yards, but you're going to a match, reach out to the match director in advance. Say, hey, I need a 200-yard target to true my ballistic calculator up on. Is there anything that you can set up or something that I can shoot at your range before the match so that I can get set up? Jumping back to the application, how do we true? So it's saying that we have an elevation of a 7.6 dial up on the scope. If you come to this drop-down menu here that says environment currently, there's ballistic calibration there at the bottom. This is where we're going to true the app to the real life circumstances. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my presentation here. Let's say we're virtually on a range, right? This is our 200-yard target. It's painted yellow. It's not shot up. We have a pretty good idea because we'll be able to see where our hits are. And then we have a waterline mark sprayed on it so that we have a consistent point of aim. So we're going to go ahead and shoot a 5-shot group. And we'll notice that that 5-shot group is on the target, but it's not center. It's not waterline. So what do we do in this instance? We want to get back on the gun. We want to look through the scope, and we want to use this to measure how far up we need to raise the impacts, right? So looking at this, these impacts are 2 mils under our point of aim. So we've measured and we know that we need to come 2 mils up. Before we come to the app, we want to test this in real life. So let's say we dial 2 mils of additional elevation into the scope, shoot another confirmation group. Now that confirmation group is waterline on the target. We know our solution is good. Nothing else has changed, right? So we'll go ahead, now we'll go to the app, and let's say, I think it was 2, so the 7, that'd be 9.6 mils, right? And what we'll do is we'll update that. And what that does is it changes the speed of the muzzle velocity in the app to reflect the additional elevation we had to put in the gun to get it to center line on the target. What I'll do then is we'll come here to the bottom, we'll hit apply MV, hit confirm, and then typically what I like to do is I will find a 100-yard target, and then I will change the range here in the app to get my dial at 100 yards, which in this instance would be 2.6. And then I would shoot a group at 100 yards to confirm. And what should happen is that group should be center on that 100-yard target. So it seems like most matches nowadays are like 200 yards and in, maybe 250 yards and in. But let's say you're at a match where you have a further shot, like let's say 300 yards. How do you true that up? That is unfortunately a limitation of the free app. Typically what you would do using this method is you would calibrate the muzzle velocity at 200 yards, and then you would do what is called DSF at those further distances. It gets a little bit tricky, and that's a little bit more complex than what we're really trying to get into today. But for most people, if you're just going to your first match and you're looking for a quick and dirty on how to set up your app, AB Quantum, calc the MV at 200 yards so that it matches what your real life environmentals are after updating the temperature, humidity, etc. And then you're going to be good to go ahead and have a great freaking time at your first match. I think that's going to do it for our ballistic calculator portion here. Let's go ahead and jump back to the range footage. We're going to actually shoot some mock stages. So you thought that we were going to like get into the shooting part of this. Now, not quite. We can't have a video that we say is everything that you need to know about getting into PRS if we don't cover safety rules. I don't know how I forgot safety when writing the script, but I did. Now that I'm editing it, we're going to put this in here before we go and shoot the actual mock stages. I've got a list here of things that I think are important if you're just getting started in the sport. These are not your standard NRA gun safety rules. I think most of us should be familiar with those. If you're not, a quick Google search will catch you up to speed. These, I think, are specific to PRS and something you're going to want to familiarize yourself with before going to your first match. Starting at the top, chamber flags are required at all matches. Mag blocks, unless they have something that inserts into the chamber itself, are not allowed. Secondly, ranges are cold at all times unless you are actively shooting the stage. That means when you are not shooting and you are off the firing line, your rifle needs to be unloaded, magazine out, chamber flag in, and pointed in a safe direction. This can mean different things at different ranges. If you're not familiar with the range that you're at, ask the RO. Pay attention to the firing cone when you're shooting a stage. That means you're not sweeping too far left or right and flagging other competitors. Some ranges have a little bit wider firing cones, some are a little bit narrower. Again, if you don't know, ask the RO. No sky loading. This is probably the biggest safety infraction for new shooters. I did it for quite a while. I got called out on it on YouTube on a couple of my videos. Thankfully, not mad. It's something I needed to stop. Sky loading is when you close the bolt on the rifle before you're on glass on target. What can happen is if you accidentally pull the trigger and the rifle is pointed in a direction other than a target, it can send the round out of the range, which is no good for anybody. We don't want to lose our spots where we can shoot. We don't want to lose the ability to shoot these matches. So don't manipulate the bolt closed until you have built your position, you're on glass, on target. Contrary, if you are moving positions, the bolt has to be open and the chamber has to be empty. If a round does not extract from the chamber when you move the bolt back, you have to remove that round before you can move positions. Next, don't sweep yourself with the rifle when you're manipulating props. Sometimes there's windows that you have to come in and out of depending on the length of the barrel of your rifle. It's easy to sweep your hand or something like that when you're going to change positions. Just be mindful of your muzzle at all times so that you're not flagging yourself or any other competitors. As with any firing range, always follow all of the RO orders instantly. They will be the ones that tell you when to load, when to unload, etc. If you have any questions about rules, safety procedures, or anything like that, just ask the RO. Nobody cares. We're all here to have a good time, and we want to do so safely. That's, I think, everything that I've got for unique safety rules. Let's go ahead and jump into the mock stages. All right, so mock stage 1, we've got our concrete blocks here. We have a 50-yard KYL at 50 yards. There's 8 targets on the KYL rack. We've got 3 positions. I think we're gonna do 2 shots per position. We're gonna get some movement in. So it'll be 2, 4, 6, and then we'll finish here on top with the final 2 targets. KYL rack, I think, honestly, is one of the harder targets that we shoot, especially with the wind that we have today. All right, commands. Shooter, do you understand course fire? Yes, you may load and make ready. In, good. Parallax is set at 50 yards. We have no elevation in the scope. I'm going to sit at 12x. I'd rather be a little bit higher in magnification, but we just don't have that luxury with this scope. The eye box gets pretty tight. All right, shooter ready. Yes, stand by, beep. Rifle down. We're gonna do double kneeling. One. Oh. Impact edge barely. 2, so we're on target. 3. 4. 5. Oh, missed. This bolt likes moving forward. 7. 8. Heck yeah. What was that? The third from last target. I just gave it too much wind. Capable setup. I'm surprised, I'm gonna be honest with you. So something I didn't do a good job of explaining. When you get done shooting, you want to make your rifle safe. That means removing your magazine, making sure your bolt is open, and then inserting a chamber flag. Let's go ahead and jump down to the troop line stage next. So the next stage we're gonna shoot is a troop line. We've got targets at 78, 127, 151, 202, and 252. One of the cool things about this Quantum AB app is there's a target card where you can go in and put all of the different distances for a troop line like this, and it gives you all of your dope in one spot, so you don't have to sit there and input each target, write down your dope, input the next target, etc., etc. It saves a lot of time. I am gonna leave this on the table when I shoot because I don't have tape or a card or anything to write this down on. That's a pretty good tip for match day. Bring some blue painter's tape that you can wrap on your wrist and write notes on. Some guys have dope cards that they attach to their rifles. That can be MacGyvered pretty easily, but you'll definitely want something for stages like this that have multiple target engagements that you can write that dope on so you don't have to remember it. This would be a stage where I'd want to use a bipod. I don't have one. so we're gonna double bag it. So our first target, 78 yards, we're gonna dial the elevation for the first target. Range cues, shooter, do you understand the course of fire? Yes, I do. 2 shots per target, 1 position, we're not gonna move. Shooter may load and make ready. All equipment has to be in hand to start. All right, shooter, are you ready? Stand by, beep. We're going to build a position. Let's see. Oop, off left. Impact. Next is 3, 4 at 127. My spinner is my identifier. 1, 2. Definitely need some more parallax adjustment. Next is 151 at 4.8. Circle. Impact. Trending a little high. Impact. 202 is 7.8, which we just did on our truing dope. Favoring about 2/10, 3/10. Impact. Impact. Next 252 is 11. Dead. This is going to be interesting. We haven't gone this far yet. No call. More wind? Yes. No dice. I don't know where that was. Interesting. Oh. I'm dumb. So, these are only 8 mil rev turrets. I'm used to 10 mil rev turrets. So I thought I was on 11. I was actually on 9. So if we go to 11, hey, center target. Okay, it's not the rifle, it's not our dope profile. I'm the problem. Hey, that just goes to show you, know your equipment. Even if you're experienced, you still make mistakes. It's okay. All right, cool. Well, I'm glad we figured that out. Let's move on to the PRS barricade, and that's gonna close us out for this video. Last up for our mock stages, we have our PRS barricade. This is a standardized prop that you're gonna shoot at every PRS match. It is designed to be the time stage and the tiebreaker. So not only do your points count, but your time counts as well. I will say your points are more important. If you drop one, it doesn't matter if somebody else cleans it. Even if you were faster, they're gonna beat you out in the tiebreaker. So go slow enough, get your points, good trigger presses, because the points are what matter more than time, especially when you're just getting started. The way we run it here, typically 2 targets at 100 yards, 1 shot per target, left then right. You've got 4 positions available. You will repeat 1. It just cannot be the last position you just shot. These right here are not positions. I typically start here, so I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's up to you. It's personal preference. Our parallax is dialed at 100. Scope is around 12x. We've got, make sure we're not a rev out. Go all the way back down to the 0 stop, back up to 2. Shooter understands course of fire. He may load and make ready. We're probably going to hold center target and then just see what happens. We'll start on the X here as if it's official. Shooter's ready, stand by, beep. I don't like this barricade. All right. 1, oh, heavy bolt lift. 2. That was the left side of the target. I'm sorry, right side. Don't know if that was me or the wind. Impact. We're trending a little bit high. Ooh, we're not having a good go. Impact. I can't see my misses, which is a problem. What's the Mirage doing? Impact. Impact. One more. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Impact. Impact. Probably could have taken a 10th out of that, but it's all right. Did pretty well, all things considered. Well, guys, I think that's gonna do it. I hope you found this video useful. For my seasoned shooters, go ahead and drop some knowledge in the comments down below. If there's anything that you think I forgot or other tips that you thought were helpful when you first started. If you guys know anybody that's looking to get into the sport, please share this video with them. I hope it's going to be helpful and answer some of their questions. As always, man, guys, my DMs are open. Hit me up on Instagram. My email's in my YouTube description link. If you have questions, let me know. I'm happy to help. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will catch you next time.